Hello, my name is Carleen Millwood, and I'm the founder of Carleen Millwood International. This course is titled Lead with Intention. Leaders are born in times of crisis. You become more intentional about your vision. It's an uncommon way of thought. You're literally disrupting the industry by thinking this way.
Carleen is one of the leaders that I admire. I feel like you truly exemplify authentic, genuine leadership. You walk the talk.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a fantastic show. If you're wondering what's going on, it is a special that we are doing. I'm so honored to introduce a lovely lady that's doing a book launch. And I want everybody to understand that this is phenomenal, something different, something new, and you can't miss it. So please tell a friend, we are live, we're ready to go. And if you are, let's go. Yes. So how you guys doing? I already see people entering into the chat, making comments. Great to have you there. Thank you for tuning in. We love to have you. But we're going to start off the show with a bang, and we're going to do the land dedication. So please welcome to the show. Let's see if she's there. There she is. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Charles. How are you?
I'm so glad that you can make it.
Thank you. I'm so excited for Carly. I'm so excited.
So before we get started, people are already commenting on. So here, let me just put this first one up right now. There you go. Congratulations on the book launch. There you go. Our first. So if you want to do some dedications, please put it in the chat and we'll get to you. So before you move on, please introduce yourself. Hello. Ms. Brenda, are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking to me, Charles. Hi, Charles. I'm Brenda, and I'm a mom of two amazing kids. I'm also a social worker and clinical therapist for 30 years. I'm also a pageant director for a women empowerment pageant. And in my spare time, I like to cook. And of course, I do hair and makeup because, I just like to keep busy.
Okay, so the makeup we can talk about. The hair, we have to get back to that one.
You wear it well. You wear it well, Charles.
So please, the platform is yours. Please do the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. For your consideration, I offer the following words for reflection and action. We acknowledge that the land that we are gathered on today is a traditional land of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, and the Chippewa people. We also want to acknowledge that Toronto and Greater Toronto area is home of many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. And Toronto is also governed by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. May we be forever grateful for their willingness to share this land with us. And folks, because we're Canada-wide virtually, we also want to extend acknowledgement and respect to the 617 other First Nations across Canada that make up 50 nations and cultural groups. And folks, remember that land acknowledgement is not just a ceremonial procedure or a reflection on Canada's colonial past. It's also a call to action. And I think of the earth, our earth, that's made up of sky, water, and air. And we, each and every one of us, Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, are caretakers for the earth. So I ask that we all band together, find ways to be better stewards of the earth, for the land that sustains us, all life, human, furred animals, feathered and finned friends. So as we move forward this evening with the best intentions for each other, may we all be well.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate it. But before you go, tell us how you know Carlene.
I met Carlene at the Immigrant Women in Business organization, and I was just, honestly, I was blown away by this woman's knowledge. Like, I want to sit beside her every day and just absorb what she is, who she is, and all that she just embodies. And so when I found out that she was launching this book, I'm like, woohoo, sister, I'm celebrating right with you. Because honestly, Charles, you know, when one person wins, we all win. And to hear her put her words out there for all of us to grab benefit from, I'm just grateful. So I'm so excited tonight for her. I'm just giddy, honestly.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles.
So we're going to be moving on, but before we move on, I want to put some more congratulations on the screen. There we go. A lot of your friends are coming in. So keep typing. I will try to get them all on. I know a lot of you want to wish her congratulations. There we go. So please, I want to welcome this next person on that's going to do our national anthem. And we're going to start off with the Jamaican national anthem. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, hi.
I'm so glad that you could take the time and come out and do this for us.
That's right. I'm at home. I'm in my son's room.
Well, we thank you so much. So the floor is now yours.
Okay. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from justice. Truth be ours forever, Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
Thank you so much. And before we let you go, quick story. How do you know Carlene?
Oh gosh, from the Gospel Cafe.
There you go. So tell everybody when I asked this question and they remember where they met Carlene, it had to be something different and special. Because you're like, yes, did you talk to her? Did she come grab you? How was it?
She was doing a play and she wanted me to come and join the play. So I went by her house, I read the script, and she was like, okay. And I'm like, okay.
Love it.
Sorry, this is my first time. I've never acted before. I've done it like, school plays, but I've never,
She just brought you in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, please keep standing as we sing the Canadian national anthem. How you doing? Just unmute yourself.
Perfect. Hi, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So I'm going to do this in reverse. How do you know Carlene?
I actually met Carlene through my cousin in 2020 I think starting in the summer, I started working on some music with my cousin Raymond. And he actually referred me to Carlene and he let me know everything that she's working on and the books that she's done. So I'm very happy and blessed to be here today.
Oh, great. So floor is yours.
Okay, perfect. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Enjoy, everyone.
All right, they're coming in fast, so I have to put them up. Here we go. Some more congratulations. There you go. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to bring the author herself back onto the scene. So don't go nowhere. I'm going to introduce you to the special guest. Carlene is coming up. Stay tuned. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Carlene. Hi, Carlene.
Hi, Charles.
Good.
I am great. How are you?
I'm excited. We've been planning this out for a while. You have a lot of friends chiming in and everybody's congratulating you. Plus, I want to put this up right here. There it is. Information. How does it feel to see it in front of you on the screen?
You know, the funny thing is that when it was just published, I just couldn't stop looking at the picture. I couldn't stop looking at the picture. So I just sit there and hold the phone in my hand and stare at it. Then I'll take the book in my hand and stare at it. You know, you would think it's the first book that I ever wrote. But this one was special to me because it took a long time to put all this information together. I've been working on it for a while and it's not done. So this is like a first part.
Okay, so tell everybody some background. How many books have you written? You're an author how many times?
I am a published author, and I say published in the sense that my books are out there on Amazon. This is my third independent project, and I have two collaborations. So I'm an author for the fourth time, and a published poet once.
Okay. So tell me why write another book? What's the inspiration behind this one?
I'm one of those people who have verbal diarrhea, but because I'm introverted and I don't talk a lot, I just prefer to write it out. But all right. So the truth about this one is that this is such a topic that is it's very important to me. It's near and dear to my heart. And when I started the research for this 10 years ago, there were hardly anyone doing research or writing anything about self-perception and how it impacts people's lives or careers. So, you know, and I kept saying to myself, I need to publish this book. I need to publish this book. But then, oh, hi, Auntie Faye. Oh my gosh, she's all the way from Florida. Hi, Auntie Faye. And, you know, over the 10 years, I kept saying, you got to get this out. And all the other books that I did came after. And then this one didn't go anywhere until now. And then I looked at it and I said, you know, maybe the information isn't relevant anymore. But when I look through it and see what's going on today, the information was still relevant. It was still so relevant. So that's why it's here now. Now is the time.
Okay, so we're going to get to more into discussion, but we also have an entertainer coming up. He's back into the green room. He's ready to go. Please introduce this man. He seems cool, relaxed. I just see the instrument beside him. How do you know this gentleman?
Manuel and I connected on Facebook since 2011. And we've been friends, like literally talking to each other. We've prayed together. I mean, he's literally like a brother from another mother to me right now. And in case you don't know, he's all the way in San Antonio, Texas, right now. So
Okay.
yes, we met in the Christian Jazz Artists Network group on Facebook.
Beautiful. Let's bring him in right now. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're
We're
good.
good.
We're good.
Thank you very much.
We can hear you very well, Manuel. You have to speak up a little more. You're very muffled.
Oh, okay, I am. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. Yes, a little bit
Yeah.
better. Make it a little bit better. So you're going to perform for us, sir.
Oh, okay.
All right. The floor is
Probably,
yours.
probably because of the mic, you know.
Okay.
Let's try this. Let me know if you can hear.
There you go. Great job, my friend. Thank you
Okay, I
so
hope that
much.
was okay. God bless you guys. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it for you coming out. So before we let you go, how is the weather? Because we're jealous right now.
We're actually I'm in Salt Lake, Utah right now, and
Okay.
it's gorgeous. We had some snow a couple of days ago, but we're good.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to perform for us. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big round of applause. Thank you so much, my friend. All right. So we're going to bring her back on. Carlene.
Hi. As you can see, I'm off to the side here because people are telling me that they're trying to get on and they can't get on for some reason. So I'm sending them the links again. Hi.
Just to let you know, we are on Facebook. So you just have to go to Carlene's Facebook account. You can go to my Facebook account. You can also go to Twitch. We're also on Twitch. So there's many avenues you can get to us. So what I'm trying to find out is you handpicked all these people for your book launch. So there must be special things that you handpicked each one. And we're going to be doing a panelist pretty soon. Can you explain each person that you picked for this special occasion and why?
Okay. I picked Femi because Femi is a certified HR professional. And I thought, who better to speak to the subject of gender inequities and career advancement than someone who works in HR? I picked Nadine because Nadine is so special to me. Nadine found me on LinkedIn last year and we struck up a friendship pretty quickly. We have so much in common. And she invited me to speak at her summit, her global summit last September. And so, our friendship keeps growing as the days go by. And I'm so thankful and grateful to have her. I cherish her. And I'm going to leave Zara for last because this is such a special one. And Patrick, I also met Patrick on LinkedIn. I congratulated him when he posted that he just defended his PhD and he was successful. And we just struck up a friendship from there and we kept on talking. And I saw his experience. I'm going to be reading their bios later on. I saw his experience and I thought to myself, you know, someone who was once a CEO would also have some great knowledge about, you know, career advancement and inequities in the corporate world, or even in business as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And Zara, no, this is it. Zara and I have known each other for like a gazillion years. Okay, Zara used to be my manager at one of the companies that I worked for.
Okay.
And I talk about that company all the time because I say up until today, it's one of my best working experiences in Canada. And I enjoyed being on her team. I enjoyed having her as my manager. And I absolutely love the fact that we've remained friends throughout. It's more than 10 years. It's more than over a decade of friendship, right? So that's my special panel tonight.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them on right after these messages. You're going to have to wait. We're going to come back from our sponsors, because without our sponsors, this would not be possible. So we'll be right back and we're going to bring the panelists. Let's go.
Mervia Scott is a longtime supporter of Carleen Millwood International and our subsidiaries. She enjoys helping entrepreneurs and families rise while making a difference in their financial health and their lives. Carleen Millwood International thanks Mervia for being our sponsor, and we look forward to more collaborations in the future. Bring a taste of the Caribbean to your home with authentic, delectably prepared meal kits from Carib Dish. We do the preparation, you cook the meal. It's a national dish experience coming to you in February 2021. Visit www.caribdish.com to learn more.
All right. So we have our panelists with me. And I don't know about you guys, but after this show, I need to call them because I'm hungry right now. That looked fantastic. I want to thank you for sponsoring. And yes, the next meal we're all going right there. Okay. So thank you for sponsoring. So hello, panelists. How are you?
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
Hi.
All right. So I'm going to do things a little different. I've asked everybody else the little special things about Carleen. How'd you guys started? So I'm going to go reverse. Since Zara, she left you to the end, I'm going to give you the beginning.
Well, I'm still a little choked up after that intro, I have to say. So, yeah, I mean, Carleen and I have been friends for a gazillion years. She was that person on my team I could count on. It was strength, it was perseverance, it was knowledge, and if I wanted to get things done, it was Carleen that could drive change. She could get stuff done in a tough environment, but we had a lot of fun doing it. So I'm so honored to be here right now with you, Carleen, and congratulations. And I'm happy to share my journey with the audience and with you. So the book was amazing. Loved it. So
All right.
Thank you.
We're going to go straight down to Femi.
Hello. I feel like, I don't know, I met Carleen on LinkedIn and we got chatting one day and I just could not believe that I had just met her. We chatted and chatted and chatted, and at the end of the day, I feel like I've known her for a zillion years like Zara, but I only just met her a couple of months ago. So I'm just so thrilled and excited to be here, and I want to congratulate her once more.
All right.
Loved it, loved it, loved it.
Sir Patrick, I'm going to skip over you and go to the lovely lady and see if you say the best for last, Patrick. So let me go ahead. How do you know Carleen?
I want to say that Carleen is a wonderful lady. We've just known for a short period. I think last year when I obtained my PhD, She was the first person on LinkedIn to congratulate me. And that since then, we've been communicating, even when I needed some advice on publishing. We were able to interact, and she talked so intelligently. I knew that this lady is a special person. There's a lot to learn from her. And I really want to congratulate her. And also, I feel honored to be in this panelist. I said, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this panel. And I want to say that the book is good. I think we still have much to say about that. So thank you very much.
All right. Now, a person with joy in their name has always got to be happy and smiling. So come on, you're up.
Thank you so much, Charles. Oh my gosh, Carleen, I am so honored to be here, and your book was absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to say, like Carleen said, we met on LinkedIn, and the first time we talked, it was like, you know, everybody else is saying here is like we had known each other for forever, right? She seemed like she was somebody that I had grown up with, right? It just seemed like this instant connection with her. And it's an absolutely, you know, honor to know you, Carleen, and to be a part of this panel today. And I just want to give you my heartfelt gratitude and thanks, and congratulations on your book. It was phenomenal.
All right. So before I move on, I think that LinkedIn needs to give Carleen some royalties, because we've said LinkedIn about 100 times. All the connections on LinkedIn. All right, Carleen, let's go.
All right. It's so great to have all of you here. It really, really is. And so, Charles, what do you want me to do? You just want me to take away and go for the panel discussion right now?
Let's start with the panel discussion. Let's get to know them a little bit more and about the book and why it's so key on the panelists and the book that you wrote. I think it's key what's going on right now. You know, we've seen everything in the media, people talking about it. Now it's here in the forefront. So let's dive right in. So go ahead.
All right. I think I missed you for the last little bit that you said. You kind of phased out for me.
Okay. I was saying go right ahead. I'll leave it up to you, and we'll just switch back and forth. So go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Beautiful. So yeah, I believe now is the perfect time to publish this book with everything that's been going on. And, you know, I think, like I said, each of these individuals, I believe, will be able to speak so eloquently to the topic. I specifically chose them because I wanted to have real conversations about this topic. You know, I don't want to talk about it superficially. I want to make sure that we're treating it with the respect that it deserves, because it is such an important topic in our environment right now. And so I would like each of the panelists to just freestyle. Tell me in your own words why this topic resonated with you, and what, if anything, you took away from the book. What spoke to you the most, and why you thought the book was so special for now. Let's start with, I'm gonna go as I see you on my screen. Let's start with Zara.
Okay. So I think that the book was timely, just because of everything that's going on in the media. And I mean, tomorrow Kamala gets, you know, to be the first female vice president of the U.S. And like, you couldn't have had this launch at a better time when we're really looking at some progress. But through my career over 2 decades, I won't say exactly how many years, you know, conversations about gender inequity, diversity, inclusion, they all come up in the workplace. And we kind of fluff them away because I really had not had confidence that, you know, these organizations were doing real things to help me advance in my career. I ended up taking charge of that myself. So when I saw your topic in this book, Carleen, the word self-perception really hit me hard. I haven't seen anything that discusses or explores the role self-perception plays, the role that me looking within plays. And then there were some things in the book that I really took away, like from that I have experienced, like the twice as hard theory. I always felt like I had to work twice as hard. I had to be twice or three times as good as my white male counterparts, that I had to find a voice at that table. And so I really, and I love data, as you know. So I love that you supported some of this with data, with talking to some real women in the workplace. But my own experience now, as a leader in an organization, what I'm seeing is dialogue and real change, real definitions of what's the difference between diversity and inclusion. What does inclusion mean? How can I bring my authentic self to my workplace and to my team? So there were so many things. I sat and read your book, through my vacation. I quoted it in my team meetings already. So yes. So I think there's just so much we could discuss, and I'll give everyone else an opportunity. But I just saw myself in a lot of those experiences, and I realized it was my own self perception, taking control of my career, and kind of not letting the barrier stop me that had helped me in my career over the years. So, yeah.
Who's muted? Okay, I wanted to introduce you before you spoke, but I think I'm doing it in reverse. But I love the point that you make. I'm going to introduce you now so people know who just spoke to them. So Zara Merchant is a service management specialist with 2 decades of progressive experience in helping technologists achieve service excellence. She is currently the Director of Service Management Office at the Bank of Canada, responsible for the Service Management Center of Excellence as well as the IT Service Desk. A strong believer in inspiring people to influence lasting change and a customer service enthusiast, Zara's passion for all things related to the user experience is evident in her leadership and development of high-performing teams. So her current focus is on the future of work and establishing digitally based operating models and teams that can meet the demand of an increasingly digital and automated workplace. So that is Zara. This is who Zara is. In case you didn't know who she is, now you know. And then it can put some context to what she just said. Thank you for sharing that, Zara. We're going to hear more from Zara as we go on in the evening, all right? Now, who is next on my screen? In the order, oh, wait a minute, you guys are now different. So we're going to go with Femi next. And I'm going to introduce her. I'm going to do it the right way around this time. So Femi has worked in HR for a period of about 20 years. All of you people in your 20 years, man. I'm not even going to say mine because it's around the same time. About 20 years, and possesses invaluable international and Canadian experience. Her journey cuts across the spectrums of the oil and gas industry, healthcare, social services, and now consulting. She holds 2 master's degrees in sociology and industrial relations and personnel management from the University of Lagos. She graduated with honors in HR from Humber College in Toronto, consulting an HR firm with an HR firm in Edmonton, Alberta, where she provides bespoke services for her clients. Somebody's microphone is on. I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Femi has worked in both for-profit and not-for-profit organizations, culminating in her role as divisional HR advisor for the Salvation Army in Alberta and the Northwest Territories. She is the CEO of Shalom Shalom Consulting and HR firm in Edmonton, Alberta, where she provides bespoke services for her clients. So, Femi, welcome, and thank you so much again for being a part of this event. And talk to us. Let us know your thoughts on the topic, on the book, and whatever you want to share with us on the topic.
Yeah, thank you once again, Carleen. I am just so honored to be here with you today. I came into this country with a very high self-perception, and rightly so. I immigrated through what's called the highly skilled program. I had worked in the field of HR for a decade at the time, and I had 2 master's degrees, which had been evaluated by the World Education Services, and they had been determined to be equivalent of Canadian degrees in the same disciplines. I lost the spring in my walk, and my self-perception took a nosedive when I realized that this, in spite of my qualifications, I wasn't able to get my foot in an HR door. I wasn't able to get into any door for that matter. So that was the first hurdle I had to surmount when I came to Canada. And for the first 16 months of my life in Canada, I was job hunting. And the barrier or the hurdle, the main hurdle was that I didn't have Canadian experience. And I wondered how I was supposed to get the experience when nobody was going to hire me. Here I was in a new country with my husband and three children. The last one was just over a year old, and I didn't have a job for the first 16 months. So luckily, I ran into somebody that said, you know what, why don't you go back to school? So I went back to school to study at Humber College. And when I got into Humber College and I started to excel, then my self-perception that had taken a nosedive when I was looking for a job started to pick up. And you know, one of the things that struck me about your book was I said to myself, I came into this country as a fully mature adult. Most of the women you interviewed had been in Canada for probably close to 30 years. And I wondered if that had actually affected my self-perception, because I mean, I could not advance in my career. I mean, like I told you, I came into this country and I was job hunting for 16 months before I got my first job in HR. I did get that first job when I was still at Humber College, and there was nobody that looked or sounded like me. Even in school, in the office, nobody looked or sounded like me, and I knew that it was really going to be an issue. For the first time, the color of my skin and my intonation seemed to be a problem, and it really affected my self-perception, to be honest with you, because I didn't understand why it was happening. And but when I started excelling in school, like I said earlier, my self-perception started to take a notch up. I graduated with honors, and then I went ahead to do the national knowledge exams, which is the professional exams for HR folks, and I excelled in that one as well. And then I left Ontario for Alberta, where I am now. My first job in HR in Alberta, I was supervising my supervisor. Um, she wasn't an HR person. She didn't have an HR background. And most of the time, I had to let her know, no, you don't do this in HR. You can't make somebody work 120 hours a week, you know, things like that, all those rudimentary things. So I struggled a little bit trying to understand why I was reporting to her and she was my supervisor, but I knew I had much more knowledge than she had. And then one day she said to me, Femi, you intimidate people with your confidence. That was when I realized that what I had gone through was actually a process. And by the time she said that to me, I was completely baked. I was done, ready to come out of the oven. So I'll just stop there for now. I'll share more as we go along. That's just a little tip of the iceberg there.
You see, it's so funny. Zara said it that she never thought before about how self-perception impacted her career all this time. And I've heard that from several people, as a matter of fact, that, you know, this is such a fresh take on gender inequities and career advancement that they've never really thought of it from that perspective. So I'm really glad that you had the experience, even though it wasn't feeling good at the time, but now that you're here, you can shed some wisdom from what you've learned. Okay. All right. The next one that I'm seeing on my screen coming down is Dr. Patrick Inabadoso. So we're going to ask you the same question right after I read your bio. And Patrick has an interesting bio. Dr. Patrick Inabadoso worked as a CEO of a company, organizational leader, internationally licensed engineering consultant, and now a management consultant. With a proven track record in corporate organizational leadership positions within the oil and gas industry, industrial engineering, manufacturing, project management, and academic research. He gained a solid reputation for meticulous attention to detail and extensive experience with quality and human resources management by ensuring workplace inclusion, performance, prompt project delivery, and a high standard of work. His position in management and technology gives him a tremendous advantage within the engineering industry that allows him to apply methodologies to continue to improve and adjust processes for the benefits of the organization. He holds 2 master's degrees. Okay, it looks like everybody from Africa has 2 master's degrees. Should I move? Is it automatic? He has 2 master's degrees, civil engineering and management. He obtained his PhD degree in management of information systems from Walden University, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he has vast experience in project operations management in North America and Africa. So this is Dr. Patrick Inabadoso. We are so happy to have you here among the bevy of beauties. For this time around, this is the first time a man is the rose among thorns, because you're the only one.
Thank you.
I'm not calling my beautiful ladies thorns, but
Thank
just
you.
terminology here. It's great to have you on here. And, I was excited to invite you to come to the table to have a chat with us. I checked you out on LinkedIn, checked out your profile and see what you were about. And I really wanted to hear a male perspective on the topic, especially one who has experience in management. You have some HR background and all that. I really want to hear from you, your thoughts, just as the other ladies shared. Just shared for me candidly your thoughts on the book, on the subject matter, its relevance for the time, and whatever you took away from the book.
Okay, I thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to say that this book is very, very, very timely, considering what is happening around us globally. And you want to see with me that self-perception in gender inequities and career advancement of minority women topic is very key in the moment we are living in, because of many things that are going on. You can see that many organizations are now on their policy, they are now including diversity and inclusion as part of the management policy. And also, if you check the objective of the organizations, they also are now including inclusiveness. And you check the management models or frameworks used in various organizations since the inception of George Floyd in the United States that passed away. I think there's a global awareness and awakening to the reality that gender inequality is a problem and it's a challenge. It's not only the women that faced gender inequalities, the men also faced it. But I want to, for the purpose of this book launch, I want to limit my comments to the book and to the women, because we're talking about minority women. Actually, there are so many factors, but I see that in the course of going through the book, as a scholar, I have to use this scholarly lens to review the book and evaluate the book from the background, the objective of the study, introduction, the interventions that you ask for from institution, government organization, non-governmental organization to tackle this issue in terms of providing awareness, training, seminars, workshops, and changing policies. And that will bring a change in the system. I also went down, I look at the demographics, the women you interviewed. I see that it is very, 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 very key to the time we are living in. I also look at the attributes in the women and what is making the women to have low esteem when they are pursuing their careers or when they're in the process of realizing their aspirations. Self-perception in terms of racial discrimination, self-image, and so many things that impact them. I observe that in your study, in your book, you try to avoid external factors. Rather, the book is more or less limited to internal factor, which has to do with what comes within the women that could make them to have a low self-esteem and a low self-image before their counterparts or before other women in the workplace. I also went further to see the methodology you use, which make the book very special. If you look at this book is not just about somebody sitting down and he just writes about racial inequalities or writes about gender inequalities or you write about discrimination, racial discrimination. You have academic input, you have the scholarly input into the book, and that make the book to be more credible and authentic. And there you have series of traceability, authenticity, what make the book valid, so many things inside this book. It's not just like ordinary book. So I see that it makes the book to be unique and to be very special. You started also, I saw your methodology, you using the mixed method, the qualitative method, and the quantitative method. And we know that you use the qualitative method to actually explore the perception of the women as regard these subjects. And so that you have a deeper meaning, a deeper understanding of what their perception are, their personal accounts. Then also you use quantitative method to measure, because you can't use the qualitative to measure, you use the quantitative to measure behavior, to measure performance and all that, and that validates your data. That's what I'm saying, that it's not just an ordinary book. It has some authenticity in it. It has some validity. It has some credibility in it because of the data that you use. It's not just like ordinary literature that you just write and tell stories. So you make your book to be very special. At the end, I see that you made some recommendation for management already, like what other people have discussed. Femi discussed it, and Zara also said something about that. See, many organizations are actually taking a different view about inclusiveness, diversity and inclusiveness. And what I take away finally from the book is that this book is vital because of the timely information that will be of help to minority women and organizational managers. This book contains vital information for organizational managers who want to improve the workplace environment. It is also good for individuals who want to positively build their self-esteem and advance their career development. This book will also help provide more insight for scholar practitioners and research students. And that may be surprising to you, that people who want to research about gender inequality, or people who want to research about the perception of minority women in the workplace as regard their self-image, will find this very book very useful. Not just those who feels that they are being discriminated against or aligned or misaligned out of the system. It's also very important for everybody to read this book.
All right. Thank you for that. We're going to ask you to hold some. We're going to ask you to hold some of the comments until later. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. And you know, everything that you said, I'm sitting here and listening, and I'm thinking, thank you. Really, you said some things that I never thought of the book for myself, but I'm glad to hear someone else saying that. No, you got me thinking, so that when I do the second part to it, then I'll add even more to it and continue to do my research and my qualitative and quantitative analysis for authenticity. That's important. Excellent. So Nadine is my next panelist, and I want to introduce her to you. This lovely, lovely lady. And here she is. So Nadine Joy is the CEO of Nadine Joy Consulting. She's a global mindset strategist, international best-selling author, co-founder of Working Wellness and Share, and founder of the Lead to Impact Summit. As an advisor to top leaders, global influencers, and change makers, She has worked with several prominent leaders of our time and has co-authored the book, Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 4. Along with Kevin Harrington, star of the hit TV show Shark Tank, and business icon Jim Britt. Nadine Joy has also been featured in top media outlets such as iHeartRadio in New York City, CBC, the Globe and Mail, CBS, Global News Morning, Fox, and sits as director on a variety of nonprofit organizations that are making a positive impact to many. After graduating top of her class in geology, she worked her way up the executive corporate ladder and discovered her gift and God-given purpose of transforming lives globally. Welcome again, Nadine, and so happy to have you. And Nadine and I have started to call each other sister. So their relationship is really blossoming and I'm loving it. My sister, Nadine, welcome. And could you talk for 2 to 3 minutes about your take on the topic and takeaways from the book, if any, your experience as well?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carlene. I have so much to say on this topic and on your book and all of the revelations and value that I found in reading this book. But I wanted to start by sharing something from my perspective, a little different than the other panelists that have spoken so far. Being a woman and working in a profession, a science profession, being geology, which is predominantly male dominated, I'm looking back on my life and looking back when I was in grade 12, there was an opportunity to be involved in this program, which was called STARS. And this program was a program where you got to go and you got to mentor with somebody who was a woman in geology and go and spend time with them and learn about the profession. And I'm looking back on this, and this made a profound, difference in my life and the way I showed up at such a young age, and growing up in an environment of not having much and being surrounded by diversity. 3 of my best friends one was Spanish, one was from Africa, and the other one was from India. So I had this exposure at such a young age to being surrounded by people of all countries, all diversities. And for me, I just wanted to say this is aside from your book, but I never saw color. I always saw the person's heart, and I always saw who they were as a person. And that to me was what mattered. And I took this from the time I was 4 years old with me into business, into life, into everything, into every interaction that I had. And I carried it with me. And I saw some really phenomenal points, Carlene, that you made in your book about management and women, and particular in leadership. And you made a quote that there was 29% of senior management roles are held by women globally. I found that to be just fascinating. I knew that the numbers weren't as high as men. I didn't realize it was that low. And it was something that really caught my attention, that this is something, again, the timing of your book this is an unprecedented time right now in our history of, what's going on and the message that you portrayed. So being a mom of 4 children, I really appreciated you also speaking about, as children and how we treat our children through affection and attention, how that leads to high self-esteem, which also leads to high confidence, increased self-control, and therefore increased success. And it starts as children, and this is in our society. And also, being able to recognize the areas in management and leadership. And you touched on so many things like self-perception and gender, the gender gap that exists. Like, I can relate to so much of this, even in, working in an executive position for almost a decade, and starting in a career where I was 21 years old, and the people I was working with were all of the opposite gender and almost double my age. So I can relate, everything you said in your book, where it just blew me away. I could sit here and talk an hour about all of the quotes and all of the things that you said, but I just wanted to, we can leave more of it for later and more, more in-depth conversation. But I just wanted to say everything that you covered. It was just so well put together, and it flowed so beautifully. And the content that was in there was unlike anything I've ever read before. And just wanted to say, again, thank you for writing, because our world needs this right now.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm just so happy that you guys were able to get some meaningful tidbits out of it. And I have a question for all of you. I'm putting everybody on the spot. Has everyone gone on Amazon and left me a review? You did? Yay. So I'm terrible that way. Sorry about that. But, we have to have a little bit of a laugh sometimes. So thank you guys for sharing that with us. Now, I think this program. Yes, go ahead.
I want to jump in real quick. I've been listening, and I want to do something that's a little different.
Okay.
It's called rapid fire. I'm going to throw some stuff out there, and as anybody, just say what you think it is, because we're talking about what it is, and I want to know the feeling that you got, because Femi talked about, when she sat there, and then her higher level said, "Oh, you're kind of intimidating and stuff." So let me flip something on you guys. When you guys went for an interview, how did you feel? Like, what was the first thing that you thought they were judging you on? Anybody can say it. Just, what comes to your mind? What do you think that you were judged on?
Initially, I thought I was being judged on my quote unquote youth. I have never looked my age. I don't know if I will ever look my age. So usually people take me to be a lot younger. And because of that, they treat me a certain way, as they would treat somebody in a much younger age group. And so whenever I asserted myself, it always became this attention situation, right? Because they thought I was being rude, number one, or, I had the whole, I'm going to say it, angry Black woman thing going on. As a matter of fact, somebody called me that up to last week, simply because I asserted myself. And so that for me was always a challenge, because they always looked at me a lot younger than I was and tried to treat me that way. And in my opinion, that's a form of oppression as well.
All right. Anybody else? What's the first thing when you sat down in the interview? What were you thinking? You're staring at them, they're staring at you. What came to your mind?
For me, I want to say, I said title and I want to say experience. I've heard, and I don't know if I've heard this in an interview. Well, you have a lot of the experience, but I can see on your resume you've never been a director before. So I don't know how many of my male counterparts get that, but I've had some amazing mentors. Carlene and I share an amazing mentor from the previous place where we worked.
Yes.
And what this person told me is, he said that all the men that came through in that interview had half of the experience I had and acted like they had it all. Because I perceived that that's what I was being judged on, I think I automatically kind of, for the first part of the interview, held back a little bit. And I think those are some things I've learned over the years and reflected back to say, how would I do it differently? And what advice would I give to others who are following, in these footsteps? So.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fred. I can see you want to say. Go ahead.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I perceive that what they're thinking is, how can this lady coming from Africa and speak with so much confidence? Why does she have, what is it that gives her that effrontery, the audacity to speak with so much confidence? You can feel it in the room. It's like, how dare you? They're not saying how dare you, but I feel that that's what's going on in their mind. They're like, where did she get this knowledge from? She said she went to school in Africa.
Yeah.
Fine, I went to school in Ontario as well, but my roots are in Africa. And they're like, how come? Sometimes, in fact, somebody asked me, I thought you said I think it was about a couple of months after I just came into Canada, or after I started my first job. The person said to me, Femi, I thought you said you just came into Canada. How come you speak English so well? Yeah, I got that a lot. And I'm like, because I'm taught in English.
You sometimes wonder, like, you have to step back and go, wait a minute. Let me make sure I heard what I heard before you speak, right? So let me ask you guys this, and this is going back to the women again. have you ever gone for a job interview and felt like you were the token? What I mean by that is they filled their quota and interviewed a woman, but you always thought, well, it's going to go to a man anyways. You ever thought of that when you go in there and you see all the people in the room or anything? Anybody ever felt that way? Did you think that that's the way it's going to happen? Yeah. So
Really?
no, see, that's what sometimes I've heard. Like, I've had people go into a meeting room and they ask me to say this and say, okay, there's a room full, and they feel like they weren't going to get the job anyways. They were just there to say that they actually went and they got voted in and they got an opportunity. So how do you feel when you go in? Do you prep yourself about the opportunity? Anybody can answer. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know why I'm always going first, but Carlene knows. She knows me. So I have gone to interviews where I felt like the job has been earmarked for someone else.
Okay.
But they're interviewing me because I applied, and I'm internal to the organization, and they're just going through the formalities. But I've always prepared well. I always bring my best self to that interview. And sometimes I don't do as well, and I'm critical of myself. But I have been, to interviews where I feel like sometimes they're just looking for, to get through it quickly because they have someone else in mind, but not necessarily from a gender perspective. It's just a person that they have.
Okay. So it's not the gender aspect. It's about just coming in. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have something with that, coming from a geology profession where it's predominantly men. I remember going to interviews thinking, well, I wonder if they're just interviewing me because I'm a woman, not because of what experience I have or education I have. It's purely just because they see that I'm a woman, right? And they need so many women to fill their quota, like what you're saying, in their organization. So I that has crossed my mind. Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, like, I mean, like when we go, like you said, and he said it exactly, when I just go, I don't think of what you guys are saying. Since you guys have been talking about it, it's coming to me. How did my mom feel? How did my sisters feel? You know what I mean? How does my wife feel? And then I have a daughter, and how is she going to feel when she goes for a job interview? Is she thinking about all this stuff? Are they looking at it that way? Let me ask you guys this. Carlene, when you're writing the book, do you feel like we've moved up a little bit? Have we stepped up? Like, what's going on?
Well, Charles, like I said, I did this research 10 years ago. And because it was sitting down on the shelf for so long, I thought it wouldn't be relevant anymore. And then I picked it up and started looking at different stuff, and I saw that everything about it was still relevant. What does that tell you? Yeah. We have not made much progress. Unfortunately, we made this much progress, right? That tells us that we still have a lot more work to do. And I think there was a part in the book where I wrote there was one individual who thinks that in order for we to have that utopia of equity between men and women, it's going to take at least 108 years for that to happen.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, because someone mentioned it, and I'm trying to bring it all in, because like when I sit down with my daughter, I want to make sure that she's confident, she's going in. What is it? Is it getting the job or getting the higher positions? Because I think Zara, you mentioned it about going the next level. I think a lot, and you're talking, Femi, you were talking about the confidence. So you have the job, but then ranking all the way up. Is there a difference? What is it?
Okay, I'll go first now, Zara, if you don't mind. So in my last position, the HR director left, and I was the person next to the director. So I was acting in that capacity for like 6 to 8 months or so. And then I noticed that there was a job posting for that position. And people were coming to me and asking, why aren't you applying? Why aren't you applying? I knew why I wasn't applying. because I had inside info that management had been asking other people to apply, but they
Oh,
had never approached me to apply. And
but
I knew it was, honestly, I find it difficult to believe it wasn't because of who I am as a black person, to be honest with you, because I was doing that job, I was in that role for like 8 months. And then guess what? When that person was hired, again, I was supervising her. I was supervising the director. So
so
you can't tell me that it wasn't because of the color of my skin.
so let me get this straight. You were already in that role,
Yeah,
temporary, doing the job,
yeah.
but
Acting in an acting capacity.
acting role, taking care of it. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, they're asking everybody else to apply, and nobody asked you to apply.
Nobody asked me to apply.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know I had the qualifications. In fact, I think at a point I was probably overqualified. The person they actually hired, which happened to be a Caucasian lady, she didn't have what I had, and then when she stepped into the role, I had to tell her, okay, this is how it's done. This is what we do. For like another 2 months or so, I got her comfortable in the role. So you can't tell me it wasn't because I didn't have the experience, I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the know-how, I didn't have the trappings or whatever. It's really difficult for me to believe it wasn't because of the color of my skin.
So then, Nadine, you're in the corporate, the jungle. I call it the hardcore jungle. Can you talk to us about that aspect?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to piggyback on what Zara was saying in the last question about being like, for example, if a man and a woman both go to a board position, say they get offered a board position, the women, and this is something I read and something I've heard from many other women who are in these roles, that they second guess their ability to be able to perform in that role, right? And their worthiness, that they're deserving to be in that role, even though their education, their experience is, we're just using two, a man and a woman that have equal qualifications. The woman goes towards that, whereas the man, and this is research that's been proven to back this up, is more confident, goes in there like he's already got it, right? It's already his position. Whereas like, really, is that really going to be for me? Is that something I deserve, something I'm worthy of, something that is way up here, and maybe I'm down here, and the whole thing of confidence comes into play, self-perception, going back to things that have happened even in media, in our world, in our society, in movies, like how women and men are portrayed, the whole like stigma and illusion that we have in our society right now with what those roles are supposed to look like and who is supposed to fill them.
All right. So let me ask you guys this: how do you step up without sounding like Carlene said, either the angry black woman or the angry woman, or how do you step up and say, hey, wait a minute, time out. I've been in that role. I should be getting that role. I've been acting how long, and my work. Hey, let's talk about this. How do you do that and not sound angry like the other day, or I don't know, Carlene, you tell me.
I'm not sure if there is a right way to do it. It all depends on the environment. It all depends on the person that you would be stepping up to. If I go back to my life with Zara in that organization where we met, I believe that it would be safe to step up there. And I'm not sure in that organization if we would have to battle that situation. I'm not sure. Zara's experience may be a little bit different from mine because she would have been seeing it from a different perspective. But because of the experience that I had there, because of the camaraderie that I had with the men, there was one director that we were always butting heads all the time. But the beauty of it is that it's like a love story because we ended up being best of friends, right? So it turned out so well. And I don't know. I had such a fantastic experience there, and that's why I said that was it. That was a safe place. Everybody's talking about this is another term, a safe place where people's voices and perspectives can be heard and spoke openly without fear of retaliation. I believe that that was that environment for me. So for me in that company, in a lot of ways, was very cutting edge because people are talking talking about things that I experienced there in the late 90s, right? The late 90s. So I feel that if I was in that organization, I probably wouldn't even need to have that conversation. But then there was another organization that I was in where I struggled because of who I reported to. And that individual would try with everything in their power to hold me down and make sure that I did not shine. The moment a little bit of light started to seep out, they would find a way to dim it. But in the process of that, because of self-perception, I was able to circumvent it, right? So you're not going to allow me to do what I need to do and to rise. Well, then you're going to pay me to do something of my own. And so I wrote my first book sitting at my desk. I wrote my first theatrical production sitting at my desk. I invited people while I was at my desk, and people from the office came to both my book launch and the play. And so, you're not going to keep me down. So, you may keep me down here, but then I can pop up again over here. So, and that's the role that self-perception plays. And this is why I'm going to ask the question later on. Maybe I can ask it now. Yeah. If Charles doesn't mind, I know but since let's just flow with it. Is there really a glass ceiling? Okay. Right? Because if it is about self-perception, then no one should really be able to stop you and hold you immobile. If it's not here, then pop up over here. There's got to be another way around it, right? So that's one of the questions that I wanted to throw out to my panelists. Is there really a glass ceiling?
Can I answer that? I have lots to say on that.
Sure.
So for me, it goes back to when you say glass ceiling, that to me, that means limits, right? There's a limit on the level that we can grow as a woman and in society, or, it can refer to anything really in our life. And it goes back to the whole thing, at New Year's Eve, December 31st, you come and you're like, okay, what is your resolution for this year? What is your goal? So I've learned, this is speaking from my own experience in my own life, to not set goals with limits anymore. Because I've found in my own life that many times the limits that I set for myself are meant to be so much higher than what I'm setting them for myself, that I'm seeing I'm capable of. I'm capable of so much more. There's so much more potential that lies inside of me than the limit I'm giving myself. So I've learned to shatter the glass ceiling and not have that ceiling whatsoever in my life, in my business, in relationships, in whatever case in my life that has to deal with. So that's just my own personal, I look at visions versus goals versus the ceiling.
I would agree. I think it's how you view it, right? And what you do with it. So when I was working with Carlene, I was younger. And, it was a really great environment. We talk a lot today in my current workplace about psychological safety, equal voice, right? And Carlene, you mentioned that. But I think there's a story that comes to mind is how many limits you place on yourself. And sometimes you project those to others, right? So I've worked with both men and women. A lot of women haven't necessarily been my advocates for moving forward or getting the new exciting project. But I've had a lot of men who have been wonderful mentors and advocates and supported me in my career and lifted me up. But to your point, Nadine, one thing I have done, and it wasn't without some trepidation, was, I was a manager and then I became a consultant and I traveled all over. And then I became, and then I did a contracting opportunity. So I kind of went not in a straight line or straight trajectory. I kind of started somewhere, but I always followed my passion. Like, what am I good at doing? Am I going to bring my whole self into it? Okay, I'm getting paid less here than I should be. And this other guy is a director and I know more than him. But I continued following my passion. I gave my best to the org. And if they weren't giving it back to me, I went somewhere else. So at the time, my resume was controversial, right? They're like, well, you move around a lot. But I did that to preserve me. And, before, I had, we all have the scars from different experiences, but I kind of did move around until I got to a point where I was recognized for the work that I do and the teams that work with me. So sometimes, you feel like you're going to take a lower position and it's going to pull you down, but sometimes that lifts you up and brings you to another level. So I always will tell my niece, she's watching, hi niece, to follow her passion and stay confident and, not let those limits you put on yourself stop you.
Yeah, and the limits that other people try to project onto you,
Correct.
add that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So I'm jotting everything down because after this I'm gonna be sitting down with my kids and my daughter because I have to ask these questions. Like I'm seeing them in the chat room. I mean, like when you walk into a room and see everybody else there, do you feel like do you have a chance? When you walk into the room, are you confident? When you walk into the room, do you feel like what we talked about? That's why I asked the question. Do you feel like, oh, they just invited me to fill their quota of asking so many people? You know what I mean? These are the questions I'm seeing, and I'm seeing all these comments in here. So like, you know what I mean? Here's one that says, amen to you know what I mean? And it's like, well said. You know what I mean? That if people can resonate of what you guys are saying, definitely. So here's the major question. What do we need to do to change? That's what I'm trying to find out right now. Before we run out of time, we're talking about all these things and we're talking about all that stuff. If someone's watching right now and they're the people that hire the people, what would you want to say to them? What can we change? What can you say to them?
Okay, can I speak on this?
Yeah, Patrick.
Okay, I know definitely. Colleen will definitely ask me, Patrick, since I'm the only, we are not two. Like the question I see in her list, could men help women in this situation? So what I want to say is that since we need a change, the change has to start from, we have to see women as our sisters, our mothers. And the women also, they should see us as husbands and brothers. So if there's going to be a change, a positive change, it's going to start from the home, from the family, the nucleus family, and then it will now extend to the community. Every man should imbibe the culture of love, equal freedom, equal power, and respect for the women. Men have to recognize the potential and the ability of women in the society. They should dismiss the notion of belief that women are inferior to men if there's going to be a change. And men should also acknowledge that there's what we call male privilege. Male privilege. And this male privilege has been put there by the society, by the community, even by religious group. So when you said religious factors, I don't really want to go into external factors because this book is more of internal factors on individuals' self-perception. When you place the ceiling there for yourself, you place a limit. So I want to limit myself to the internal factors. So, but one thing we should know is that there should be an acknowledgement for a male privilege due to patriarchal system practice in most countries, in politics, in economic, culture, and social setting. Men have, over the years, have power in leadership, in moral authority, and in control of properties in so many cultures. You see men control properties. When the parent departs, they will everything to the men. The men have rights over properties. They have rights over money. They have rights over the wealth of this world, thereby leaving the women to limit themselves. So many years of patriarchal war system where society and government are controlled by men is a root cause of unequal power between genders. And this gave rise to unfair gender roles, normalized abuse and harassment, and undermining women in so many areas. So if there's going to be a change, we have to have these basic factors in our mind, that there is what we call, we must acknowledge male privilege. The system, the world system, gave some privileges to the men, directly or indirectly. Even in the civilized world, you see how it happening. Then I will talk on this very issue in twofold. I will talk about men in the home, and I talk about men in organization. Now, men in the home, we have to change our ways, the way we treat our women, our girls and our women, giving good parental upbringing to the girl child, promoting girls and women leadership by responsibility and delegation, instill confidence and self-esteem in the girl child, encourage good association and social interaction that will better their future, provide good education for the girl child and the women, give the women access to vital information. Higher education will help build positive self-perception, and also allow the women to be part of decision making in the families. Then I come to the organization. The managers have to change. And like what I said earlier, the change has started. As of 2020, you see there was a turnaround in the organization. You see every template or every website of organization, you see diversity and inclusion. Even when I tried to apply for a teaching job as a professor, I discovered that nearly all the portals for all the universities, you can see diversity and inclusion. We are interested in the culture of diversity and inclusion. We are going to take you. See, a lot of Black women have been put into position just within these few months. So I want to say that the managers must recognize the need for initiative and implementing strategies for advancement of women in society. And organizational behavior and situational leadership theory, as cited by Colleen in her book, is very key to increase perception in women, because this organizational behavior is developed by Paul Hersey and Ken Blanchard, which is applicable in this situation. What does it entail? The aspect of directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating, by making sure that the women in organization are given this special preference. The manager should be able to locate women that are of minority. They know, because every organization have a model. They have a framework for management organizational practices. They all already have their managerial styles and approach to training, approach to personnel development. So they should inculcate these ideas, these concepts into their own models, and ensure that they are able to identify women that are of minority origin. In so doing, when they locate them, they should be able to drive away this fear, because already the society has put these women in a situation where they limit themselves. It is not the fault of the women. It is not the fault of the women of minority. There's discrimination. Racism is real. So when a woman comes from a background where even religion relegates women, even ownership rights relegate women, so many rights in so many cultures relegate women to the background. They are subject to abuse, they are subject to harassment. So when organizations identify these women, they should be able to develop some techniques and some programs to drive away this fear, and also give them opportunity to occupy leadership position. Give them opportunity to learn, make available information whereby they will be able to interact. Because knowledge is power. When the women are able to interact with one another, they're able to learn one or two things, it will build self-perception. In other words, which will increase career advancement. It will increase their aspiration. So the idea of having a ceiling or limiting themselves will be a thing of the past.
One word I'm taking away. Male. Was it male privilege? Male privilege. I wrote that down because it's weird when you hear it said to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we don't hear that for ourselves. So hearing it again, it's absolutely true. So great job, sir. Great job. I'm watching all the comments and stuff, and we don't think of it that way though. You know, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You know, when we sit there and going into things, we don't think about that. We just think, no, but it's true. It's absolutely true. So great job, sir. Great job. So Carlene, I'm going to leave, time is ticking away. People want to know how to get the book. We want to make sure we get the book out there and get everybody on there. So we still have a performer. She's coming on next. So I'm going to leave the last question to you before we let our panelists go, because we can be doing this all night long.
We could be, but it's so funny because I sent them a list of questions. I think along the lines of those, but I'm so glad how you jumped in spontaneously. And this is one of the reasons why I love being on your show. You're such a great interviewer, right? You think about things that I probably wouldn't think about. And so thank you for doing that. So what's one last question I would ask you guys? I want to know something because I talk about it, and when I talk about it, people get ticked off quite a bit. And is that, in the aftermath of George Floyd's death, there are so many organizations globally that are diversifying their senior management teams and their boards. And for me, I'm wondering, is this a knee-jerk reaction? Because now some light is shed on it, and then at some point down the road, we're going to go back to being, passive and relaxed about this whole situation. I mean, on the surface, it looks great. So, what are your thoughts on that? What's your take on the situation? And I'm not talking necessarily from just a racial perspective. We're talking about women tonight. So I'm talking about women because, as Nadine mentioned, that I wrote in the book that senior management positions, only 29% of those positions globally are held by women. 29%. So I see women being, given certain positions nowadays. And then, Kamala Harris is taking the VP position in the US tomorrow. That's sure going to be opening some more doors for women. So what is your take on the situation? That's the last question.
Well, I'm going to step in real quick since I'm not a panelist, but I'll say it. I only saw it, and I only saw it starting after George Floyd. Honestly, like everywhere you watch, when you're watching BET, when you're watching the newspapers, oh, this person just hired their first blah, blah, blah. This person just hired their first. Congratulations. And you're right. It's only after George Floyd. So I'll put my 2 cents in, and that's how I feel it. It only happened when a situation happened, then we need to correct it so we look good as a company.
Yeah, I actually, I'll jump in and, keep the tradition of going first. So sorry. So I agree with you, Charles. I think I saw the conversations around diversity and inclusion happening before George Floyd, but they were just, it was about increasing diversity and inclusion. I didn't see actions happening. I saw actions, conversations about racism, people being surprised there's racism in the workplace, only after, right? And I don't know how it's going everywhere else, but I've seen this type of stuff start and then taper off because society sometimes forgets that it's an ongoing, systemic, long time issue. So I have seen some positive come out of it where I'm having conversations with people about it, about my experience as a minority woman, also coming from Africa and what I experienced, but also what are the authentic things about myself that I can bring to the workplace without feeling like I would be excluded. Can I talk about the big family gatherings pre-COVID? Can I talk about the Indian culture and the African culture and how they fuse in my household? And can we talk about some things that don't make me feel ashamed to be who I am? So it started some of those conversations, but I really feel like the dialogue needs to continue, and I want to be part of that. So I volunteer to be in these committees and keep the dialogue going, even if it's small groups, but not to let it sort of fade away, which is what I'm afraid of seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, can I just jump in here? We really need to steer clear of tokenism. In the last job I held before I set up my consultancy firm, I was the only person of color in the building. And I felt like it was they just wanted to make up a number, like Charles said earlier. It was just like, okay, this quota, we need to have a black person. We're going to look really bad, if we don't have at least one black person in the building. So I had a very big portfolio, a very big important role, but I had that role without authority. So don't invite me to the table to just come and be a figurehead. Invite me to the table because you feel I deserve it. I deserve a place at the table, not because you just want me to make up the number. And if you're going to provide me with a portfolio, back up that portfolio with authority. Don't make me put me in a role where I can't take decisions. I still need to I still need to speak to one person or the other, and I'm in a position that is supposed to have wield a lot of power. So it really begs the question: what exactly are you doing this for? Are you doing this just to make your organization look good, or because you really feel you're passionate about this issue and it must be solved, or you want to do your own little bit? So we need to really be careful about. Yeah, I know it's a good thing. Yeah, Black women are getting more roles, but how are they impacting? Do they have an impact in that role? Are they given the free rein to do what they're supposed to do? So, yeah, just give me a role because you feel I deserve it, because you feel I have the merit, not because you just want to make up that number or you just want to look good.
I feel it has to do with the combination of things that has happened, the George Floyd, the pandemic at the same time. There's just all of these global events in our world that have happened that has caused people worldwide to really start looking at things differently, right? I feel like I think it was Dr. Patrick that had mentioned in one of his questions he was answering about awakening, right? I feel like right now there's a global awakening in our world, and people are becoming more aware and are more aware of these things in our society. And in my opinion, I believe things are not going to go back to where they were before. I think things are changing, and I see a lot of great change that is happening because of these things. But there's also things that, we got to make sure that we keep them in the forefront, right? And not allow them to sink back in the, our subconscious, where, things just kind of exist. So making sure that we continually focus on that and move it forward as we continue through this pandemic that we're in, and dealing with diversity and inclusion. And I think it's a great thing that's happening right now with all of our organizations and our world, and just people in general, the amazing things that people have had time to think about what truly matters. And these are things that they've always been there, but now it's coming to the forefront in a way that it should have been like this to begin.
Well, Nadine, hold on, I'm getting more comments coming in. Let me just put these up real quick. I got preach for me. I see a lot of people feeling what you guys are saying, and it's been there. So, Carlene, the book is a timely thing. So before we move on, can we give this panel?
I want to say something before we move on.
Yep.
Say still on what we just said, because I wanted to add a little comment on it. If we're going to get results, I want to quote what one of the authors said. Caveat 2010. I started that unless provision is made to ensure policy changes are implemented in a way that women participate, monitor, and hold policy makers, corporate organizations, or other relevant actors accountable for their actions, nothing will ever happen. women will mitigate these happenings like violence or abuse, discrimination based on sexuality, isolation, mental health, pregnancy, related relationship breakdown, which are some of the factors that make women to lose self-esteem, some of the factors that decrease self-perception. Unless women are part of the decision makers, nothing is going to happen. Unless women are in position of leadership, nothing will ever happen. When women are in position of leadership, they will be able to make sure that everybody is accountable and that there is a change, so that the minority women will now be able to build up esteem and also given a chance to excel in whatever is their field of endeavor. I will also add that women can also be empowered when they have access to finance, when they have access to well-paid job. Collective actions and leadership will make women to be empowered. Access to address unpaid care and work burden. Women take care of families. The responsibility of the men and the women virtually are not the same. The women take much of the blunt because they have children to take care of. At the same time, the women also go to work. The same women are also being victimized or discriminated against by the society. So women need to be in position of authority for them to be able to have a positive impact. Women need to take a political position, just like Kamala Harris. We are happy that there's inclusion. She's there, and we believe she's going to impact the society or the country and the world positively. Women should be given access to education. If possible, they make it free for them. If not, it's going to be a problem. So women need to be in position to effect a change.
There you go. So, Carlene,
Yes.
I want to thank you on behalf of myself for bringing some great panelists. You know, they dove into it, the stories they told. A lot of people are in the comments and, you know, talking about it. And I think that's one of the main thing is when you can have these discussions to talk about it, people feel comfortable to say their stories, to talk about it and just say, hey, this happened to me. This is how I change it. Don't let it discourage you. Go for it. So the panelists, you guys did an awesome job. Big round of applause to you guys. And I'm getting it in comments as well. Big claps for you guys as well right there. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you. Thank you very much.
So,
Awesome.
Carly, that, you know, I think what you've done there and the book and people talking about it will change. Because like I said, the questions I'm asking is like, just make it open. People don't think about what you're talking about. People won't even think about the situations. And that, you know, the Dr. Patrick, he said it himself, I have a little girl that I have to talk about, okay, this is what might happen. This is what you might think about. Don't worry about this. Move forward. There's a lot of stuff. So yeah. But don't go nowhere, everybody. We have a great performance coming up. We have poetry. So don't go nowhere. We're not finished. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bring a taste of the Caribbean to your home with authentic, delectably prepared meal kits from Carib Dish. We do the preparation. You cook the meal. It's a national dish experience coming to you in February 2021. Visit www.caribdish.com to learn more.
All right, I'm going to say it again. When COVID is all done, we are getting that dish, okay? We are getting that.
I'm sure Colin is happy to hear that. I believe he's online because I saw him leave a comment in there. So
Okay.
he'll be very happy to hear that.
All right. So, Carly, please introduce our our poetry speaker. She's been waiting. They've been waiting there in the background since the start. I see the smile. I see you. I see you in the green room smiling away. Please introduce.
So coming up, we have Miss Annika Anderson, and she's going to share with us some of her incredible poetry. I've known Annika now for a few years, but we went to the same church together. This is how I know her. So this is an informal bio of Annika. We went to the same church together, but we never spoke while we were at church. We met outside of church at a different event in a different group. And then her, myself, Nadine, and Jamila, we became like besties. And I don't even want to tell you about our escapades together. So I'm going to leave that part out, right? I want people to continue to think I'm a sane individual. But suffice it to say, when I'm with Annika, the other two, it's never a dull moment. And Annika, I have seen such a transformation in her over the years. We're all still learning and growing. I still have a lot of learning to do and growing to do. So does she. But she's come a far way. When I met her, she had written her poems, started writing since high school, I believe, and had never one day shared any of her work with anybody. And so one day we were sitting together at my house, just the two of us, and I shared some of my own poetry with her. And then she confided to me that she also wrote. And then I said, I need to see some of that. And she shared it with me. And so I gave her a good talking to, like the mother that I can sometimes be. I gave her a good talking to. And from that moment, she has stepped out. I've seen her really step out and started to put her. Well, I see Jamila in the chat going, shh. I won't tell. Don't worry. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So Annika is here tonight, and she's going to see. You're going to see how powerful her work is. So welcome, Miss Annika Anderson.
There you go. Unmute.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great.
I saw you. I see you in the green room smiling away and nodding every time someone made a point. Like,
Yes.
yeah. Well, the floor is yours. I'm looking forward to your poetry, so go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'll be reading 2 poems today. Woman in the mirror. Woman in the mirror, lift your head. Stand in awe of what you see. The beautiful image of a being with capabilities yet to be recognized. Beauty that flows from within, poured out of a heart that willingly gives. A heart that cares deeply. It's one of the things I love about you. I've watched you grow in courage and strength, carving your own path, no longer allowing others to define you. You realize your worth and embrace it. It's truly a remarkable thing. You are standing in your own strength, pressing forward even when things get tough, rising from the ashes of hurt, failures, and pain, realizing that you are stronger than you imagined. So embrace your uniqueness, wear it proud. There is only one you. Shout it out loud. You are no mere accident, and certainly no mistake. Hold your head high. There is greatness within you. And that second poem is called Clear. Clear. Letting go of the things that no longer serve me. Uncluttering the mind of limiting thoughts and beliefs. No longer allowing circumstances to define the course of life. Rising up, learning, growing, and moving forward. Wiser and stronger. Replacing the old with the new. Creativity, joy, love, beauty, and more. Love that flows from deep within. Free in heart, soul, spirit, and mind. A phoenix rising from the ashes.
Thank you, Annika.
Very well
Welcome.
done.
Thank
Very
you.
well done.
Congratulations, Carlene.
Thank you, Precious.
So
I
before you,
love those two pieces.
before you go, I don't do this, but I'm going to give you a quick plug out. Give us your social real quick where we can find more beautiful poems like that on social media. Where should we go?
I have not posted. I am in the works of something to be posted on Instagram. So I'm in the process of my book, and it will be finished in about a couple more days for editing and then. But I am on Instagram, so you can find me at Anika Anderson.
All right. Well, we're going to be searching for you. Thank you so much. It was brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Carlene.
Yes, sir.
We did it. We came to that moment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us before we let you go, just how you feeling right now?
Fantastic. I feel terrific. I feel like this evening could not be any better. I had a very eventful day. I had some very tense moments today. And there was a point where I thought I probably wouldn't even make it to, be here on time for this. But everything worked out. And as I said to someone this afternoon, it always seems a little darker before the dawn. So this is the dawning of the day for me. It was just, it culminated very well for me. So I'm happy. Thank you to my panelists. Gosh, I hit the jackpot this time around. You know what I mean? I couldn't have picked a better panel. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. And to Manuel, gracias. Gracias, mi hermano. Gracias. I really enjoyed you. I have a lot of your CDs, and you know what, Manuel, if you're still there, can you put your web links, your social media links in there for everybody to find you? Because I believe Manuel has such amazing music, and I really want to get him out there some more so people can listen to him. I listen to him all the time. I was listening to him just this week while I was working and doing my little Latin thing in the background. But fantastic work, Annika, great work. Charles, thank you for jumping in there. It's just like, wow, take over. I loved it. I loved it. You really are. I'm not just saying that to try to suck up to you to get another spot on the show. You're a great interviewer. You're a great interviewer, and I always enjoy being on the show with you. Thank you so much. And to all the guests who came on, Auntie Faye from all the way in Florida. I had another aunt just message me, and she said, I've been trying to get on, but I keep getting error messages. So sorry, Auntie Margaret couldn't come on. But Auntie Faye, thank you for tuning in all the way from Florida. I think there are maybe some people tuning in from Jamaica as well. They're probably silent in the background, but I know they're there. And for everybody else who tuned in, all of my faithful supporters, Valerie Lee, you've been with me since the get-go. Colin Williams, listen, if I started talking about Colin, we're not going to go home tonight, because that is my big brother. And the stories go on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? So want to say thank you again to Colin. Actually is the owner of Carib Dish, the place you claim you want to go after COVID is over, but you actually can just order online and get him to deliver stuff to you. And thanks again to Mervia Scott. She's probably off studying tonight, so she couldn't be here. And so just a great big thank you to everyone. Narda Bailey, I saw you tuning in from North Carolina. So people were tuning in from all over the place. I thank you so much, everyone, for the support, for showing up here and making this such a special occasion. Samantha Loney, I would be remiss without saying hello to you. Samantha and I went to film school together, so that's how I know her. And we met in Vancouver, but surprisingly, we're both from Ontario. I live in Toronto, she lives in Barrie, so there you go. And so everybody, great job. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments. Thank you, Charles, for this platform and for actually giving me the idea to do the launch on here.
Not a problem. Like you said, you don't, anytime, you are more than welcome. I remember doing the first interview with you, and I was impressed with your story and your spirit and how you just came out and said, listen, I just went for it and did my plays and did this. And I thought, wow. I'm like, okay, that's my girl. You can jump and do things. I know I can jump in and do things too. So I got your back anytime. I'm more than happy to do it. And once again, I just want to thank all your panelists, all your guests, the singers that came out and did the national anthem, everything. And I just want to thank them again for being so honest. Like, they just flowed. And that was the main thing, how they just talked. And a lot of people are resonating with it. So fantastic, fantastic job. But before we go, we want to do some giveaways. All right. So let's do some giveaways, and you have a chance of winning some prizes. And how are we going to do the giveaways? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
I want to give away 3 Kindle versions of the book.
Okay, right there. You're going to win 3 versions.
Yes.
All right. We're going to give them away. We're going to give them away. We're going to give them away. All right. So here it is. Okay, here's one question. And if you're on here long enough, then you'll know the answer. Okay. Where did Carlene first work with Zara? I think, did you mention it? I think you did mention it a couple of times, right?
I did. I don't think I said the name of the place.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I said the name of the organization.
Oh, okay. Let's go for another one. Come on. Let's think of another one. You said that maybe you have to move to Africa because they have how many degrees? Okay. How many degrees? You said maybe I got to move to Africa because they have how many degrees? I need the first person in the chat to tell us how many, and then you can you'll win the book. So first person, put it in. Let's see it. Let's see how many people in the chat. If you're watching and you know how many degrees does Femi and Dr. Patrick have, say it in the chat and we will get it out there.
Okay, so panelists, you know that you can enter this giveaway, right?
Oh wait, Colin, you can't answer either. Oh, here we go. I got it right here. Here, is this right? Boom. There you go.
Okay.
Is that right?
That is correct.
There you go. Congratulations. There you go. That's for the first Kindle. So write down her name. We'll get it to go off to you as right.
Yeah.
Oh. Colin putting up the numbers. All right. Next question. Let me think. Come on, Carlene. What do you want to ask? Let me think. Let's make it.
Wow. All right. That's a good question. No, you stumped me. All right. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. I got a question. The doctor said a word that we have it as well. And I said, I wrote it down. What is that word that men have as well over women? There's a certain word that he mentioned. What was that word? We have something. And we have to recognize that we do have it as well. I don't know if I asked that question properly, but if I don't want to say the word, that's the problem.
I remember the word.
Yes. If anybody remembers the word.
Actually, maybe it's a term and not a word.
Okay, there you go.
And Colin is giving you a suggestion for the next question. I think it's a good one.
Yes. Okay. Oh, here it is. Yep. Someone just answered. Here it is. I'm going to pop you open right there. There you go. Male privilege. That's what he was talking about. And I said, I'm going to write that down because it's true. We have male privilege. So there you go. Congratulations. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, Narda, I see you there. And Narda, by the way, she spelled her name backwards here, but her name is Narda. She is my cousin and she's a pest. Just want to say that for the world. Love you, Narda.
Okay. Oh, here's the last question. if I remember correctly, and Carlene, put it in the chat to make sure I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
The musician that came, I asked him, how's the weather and where is he from? Do you guys remember where he's from? Because I asked him, hey, how's the weather out there? And he says, I'm from, and it's great night right now. It's beautiful. Does anybody remember where he's from?
Private.
Yep.
I'll send it to you private.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yep, I got that one. That was yep, that's what I thought too. Where was the musician from? I asked him how the weather was.
Yeah, and I actually said where he was from.
Right. Are you watching the chats as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, we got somebody. No, not yet. And while you're trying to figure that one out, that's the last one. Don't forget, you can get the book. It's out now. Tell everybody where they can get it, Carlene.
They can actually go www.carlenemillwood.com under business and literature. That's probably easier for some, or they can just go on Amazon and search for me and they'll find it there.
All right. So, all right. We got Jamaica. We got California.
No. Well, at least they're close with the warmth, the warm weather. So we'll give them that hint.
I don't want to give this away. Let me see if there's any Toronto fans. We traded DeRozan. And that's all I'm going to leave it right there. We traded DeRozan.
I see someone said half of the answer. Is that acceptable?
It's your book. You tell me. Can we give it
I wanted to be specific because that's a big place.
Okay, yeah. So
and I'm not going to say which place it is to give it away. So it's a big place, but we want to be specific.
All right. I know. I gave the hint, and I saw Zara. She's still in the green room, and she's laughing away because she knows the answer. She's like, "Come on, Raptor fans! Right? Come on, Raptor fans! There we go. I got the answer.
There
we go. There we go. All right. Congratulations. I know, Zara, I know you're shaking your head like, come on, people. Come on.
Yeah, we got it.
There we go. So we gave away our 3 books. And thank you so much. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. Give your opinions, your answers. We can all learn from each other. And I learned today a lot. So thank you so much. And God bless everybody and be safe. Carlene, I'm going to leave the last quote to you.
I just want everyone to remember that your only limitation is yourself and how you think about yourself. So make sure your self-perception is in place. And if you need help with that, connect with me and we'll work it out together.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Have a good night.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking